Okay, let's go. I looked at it for a bit. I uploaded the video. It's like 1 hour and 50 minutes, I realized. And there are a couple of things with it, and I don't think I'm gonna pull it, but like, for example, I've realized while looking back that we looked at this line. This line as a delayed alapin, and I just assumed d6. And like, I mean, you can even play e6 here. And then the entire prep is gone, but this is fine because I think this is fine because you play e5 here, and this is a different line, but like d6 is the only move that prevents e5. Okay, let's go to the game though. I played white. Should I tell you the... I think I will. I will tell you the result of our team match. We won. So we maintain our position in like a very high league, which is good, I think. It might be good. It might be kind of annoying for newer players if we want some more reserve players, because like you can't expect to play anyone below 1800 in this league, even on the lowest board. Which, I mean, these opponents did have that though. They had, I believe, same as us, 3 players above 1800 and the rest below. So we had a decent chance actually to win this, and we did. And let's look at my game. I played e4. So guess what happened? Okay, yeah, this is why... Oh, I didn't play d3. This is why for a second I wanted to scrap the entire video, 1 hour and 50 minutes, because like, what's the point? Fortunately, I randomly discussed this position with a player from our club who has a rating of like 2150 or something, and the thing we talked about is like, there's a very generic setup you can get like this, and this is a setup you can play, and you just, I don't know, you go play e5, d5, and white gets a queenside attack, black gets a kingside attack. Generic King's Indian defense stuff. However, the thing we discussed is that you can also, what happened in the game, knight f6, knight c3, g6, f4. That this is probably even better for white than the normal main line. But yeah, this is what we got, and so I know that this should be very good for me, probably, I'm assuming. But let's just, we just developed for a bit. Knight f3 castle, and I played bishop e2, which might be a touch passive, but I think it's good. c6, which is also a bit passive, and I played bishop e3. With the point after knight g4, I just go to g1, kick the knight and go back, if necessary. But that, yeah, it is kind of annoying because I can't really castle because of knight g4, so I do have to play h3 first, which is not bad. I think you should probably play bishop g4 though, or knight g4, and just probably bishop g4 and try to trade, because you have a lot less space. So maybe I should have played h3 first, regardless. I think that's probably true. I think I should have played h3 here, and only then bishop e3. So like, let's say knight d7, bd7 or something, and then bishop e3. It's probably a touch more accurate. Yeah, bishop e3, and my opponent played b5, threatening b4, winning the e-pawn as a deflection tactic. And here I think the tactics really started already. I was calculating e4 or e5 options, and like e5 b4, e5 take b4, stuff like that. Yeah, I think e5 take knight moves is probably good, except if the knight goes to d5. That might be a touch annoying. And I also need to consider how to take back. I don't want to take with the d-pawn because then we get a queen trade, which I don't think is good for me. But taking with the f-pawn might make the d-pawn a weakness, and like basically what happens the next like 5 or 6 moves, e5 does not get played. Am I lying? No, I'm not. I'm not lying. It's close though. But I calculate e5 for like 10 minutes on every move, which is fair because this is very tactical. There are very tactical options are everywhere here. You need to calculate everything. Or positional options, actually. e5 is more positional. But this is also kind of the point of the opening, why this might be better than this, because e5 is not really a thing in this variation, because I just take twice with the pawns, which kicks out this knight. You can trade queens, but like I think that should be good for me in that position. So you do have some counterplay with c5 maybe, or maybe d5, but not e5, which is, yeah, that makes the position a bit harder to play for black, I think. But yeah, b5, I do actually, this is actually a threat, and there are plenty of ways to deal with it, and I decided to just play a3. Simple. My opponent played queen c7, which I think is a bit passive. I was looking at queen b6, because this is actually a pin because my bishop is undefended. I was also looking at queen b6 here, but then I'd play queen c1, defend here, defend here, defend here. For 2 seconds I looked at queen d2 with the point that you can not quite trap the queen, but this seems okay. My rook is active, and like the bishop can't ever develop without any, well, without much work, and I think this is probably playable, but I would have probably played queen c1 and make it easier. But yeah, queen c7, a bit passive. Trying to play c5, but it still isn't possible because I take. I looked at b4 though. I also looked at b4 in the last move, but whatever. No need. a3 is fine. If my opponent plays a5, I would play b4 probably. I think that's probably good. But queen c7, and like still this is not a thing, this is not a thing, and this is not quite a thing, but it's getting there. The issue is that e5 knight e8, and just like, what are we doing? I don't want to take. Maybe, sorry, not knight e8. In this position you play knight d5, by the way. And like, do I really want to open up the e-file? No, right? Not at all. So I just stay here, and oh, this wins a pawn, by the way. But yeah, I didn't do that. I played the move h3 here, which is just, I looked at so many things, but h3 was just defend against knight g4. That's also, oh, that was the issue of e5, I realized. e5 knight g4. Promote, yeah, knight g4. And then this was kind of an issue, I think. But maybe I just play h3 here, like something like that. seems fine. I can get my knight here, but maybe this knight gets here, and so this and that and rook, and I need to save this probably, and this, and it's just barely all possible, and yeah, whatever. So h3. My opponent tries to really push through c5, but realizes that you can't, so they defend the b-pawn. A bit slow, but yeah. I castle, which is, I think, good in this position, because I don't want to open up the e-file while my king is on the e-file. Bishop b7, which now c5 is actually a threat, I think, because of after e5 you get knight d5 again, and then my center might collapse. So if I pass this, that, take, maybe I can salvage my center after c3, like maybe something like this, or just take and knight c6 or something, and like I think black gets some play here. So yeah, it's actually a threat. However, yeah, I played queen e1, which is instead, which not well, it allows c5, but I get a kind of a counter punch here, I think. So and the point is, after d5 you get b4, which wins the e-pawn and then the d-pawn and the b-pawn probably as well. It's all terrible, and maybe the c-pawn even, but I believe this is fine for me still, because I get a nice counterpunch at some point, probably with like queen h4. And I'm threatening this, which you might be able to save, but like you can try to do this and rook, or block. You can't. I don't think you can do this. Not b4, of course, there. And like, I mean, this seems interesting. Maybe not. I think c5 is playable now, but I think it's okay for me as well. Was the point? My opponent doesn't play c5 though, and now after knight bd7, it's a bit late, because now I get e5, and this is my attack starts right now, and I'm going to go here, and my bishops are going to go here, and my knight knight gets there, and like, I mean, I can count how many arrows did I just draw? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's winning. 7 arrows is winning. I'm kind of counting double. I'm counting this as 2 and this as 2. That's only 1. So kind of only 5. But and this pawn is, yeah. And there, not there, there, come on, there, here, and I mean, this must be winning. Of course, I calculated this. I spent a lot of time, and like I calculated this concretely, that it doesn't lose or anything, and I think it's very good for me. My opponent quickly took, which I think is probably inaccurate, because I still don't think I want to take. I took back with the f-pawn, which was part of the point. I think this is also fine, but I wanted to keep to open up this bishop and this rook, and it's all relevant, I think. it could all be useful, at least for an attack. And knight d5. You can't go here because of g4 trapping the knight. So you can also go to e8, but then the knight can cry. So I think this makes complete sense. You take, and now this bishop can cry. My original plan in this position, so there are plenty of plans. I saw that I can play queen h4, which has multiple threats here. But I was afraid that this was enough material. So here, this was enough material. So there, h6. And it's my attack is going, but I can't sack a piece yet. I don't think. I can also do this take, because I win a piece back. But like this is a piece here, and take with check, and then you can save the bishop. So I need to be kind of careful, relatively. And I mean, my original plan in this position was definitely to defend this pawn, and my original plan was c3, after which I would just say to my opponent, good luck, find a useful move. Like, positionally, I think I'm dominating in this position. So yeah, that was my original plan. And then I thought, well, I mean, I can do the same thing with this bishop, and now this bishop is also attacking. And I'm still asking my opponent, good luck, what are you gonna do? My opponent made a very sensible move, but I don't think it's correct. My opponent played knight b6. And, well, it's kind of, at the same time, it's attacking, but at the same time it's getting away from this, and, like... I think it's going in the wrong direction. But I mean, if you can hold this as black, then this is definitely a decent move. I play queen h4, just my attack is starting up. And my opponent here tried to defend against knight g5, which is, I think, very scary. And especially knight g5, you can't play h5 because of g4, I don't think. And maybe I believe the point was, if you pass, I can sack here, was my plan, I think, and take this. And you can like trade if you want to get the tempo, but like you're so far away. And not queen g5, of course. Queen takes h5. And I don't see how you defend. And I don't see how you could have defended in 2 moves in this position. So that would have been my point idea probably. And like, even if you don't, even if you play this, I just take, by the way. I think that's and this to defend, and like I think this is sufficient game over. Also +7. So yeah, I think knight g5 is an actual threat here. Which my opponent, you can't play h6 to defend that because I just take. Can you play h5? Maybe. I think the idea is still the same. Maybe I play e6 as well, by the way. e6 is also an often thing. I mean, it's just very difficult to play as black, and my opponent played f6, which shows how difficult this is to play. Because it does prevent knight g5. But like, you don't want to do this, if possible. I played a very normal move here, I think, which is bishop h6, trying to trade off the bishops, removing a defender from the king and like smashing through. There were I had some ideas, maybe not right. I don't think right now it's good, but e6 might be interesting at some point. There's also this nice idea of, well, if knight g5 is ever possible, it is a double attack, so you're really forced to take. And that might be interesting at some point. Bishop h6. My opponent tries to get some pieces back to the defense and plays bishop c8, which we'll get to. And like, I think in this position Paul Morphy would be proud of the move I played, so I'll give you 3 seconds to figure it out. Like that. Something like that. Rook ae1. Extra. All the pieces are active. All the pieces are attacking. I don't think rook ae8 is necessarily forced, but I think it's definitely a good move. Yeah. Bishop d7 happens with the plan of going here, which means that this is probably the idea. Would have probably been a better idea. And I think that might even be bad, but like here what happens is this: take with check, discovered attack on e7, rook e7 again. Remember last time, rook e7, game over. You can't prevent rook e7, by the way, but I mean, it's not inherently over yet, because after rook e7 you get rook f7. But there's a move that we saw previously which was impossible, and then if a brilliant chess player once said, if a move looks impossible but is possible, you're in trouble. Knight g5. Well, it's a double attack. You're really forced to take if you can, in theory, do that. And yeah, I don't think you can. I think that's really easy checkmate. This. So these two are mate in one, and the only chance you have is blocking. And then I take. I don't have to take with this rook, but I can. Like, so you can't take. My opponent tried h5 though, which prevents this, but gives me this. Also gives me rook f7, e7, because rook f7 I just take because of the knight. King goes here, which is accurate, because otherwise you lose a tempo. So king h8. Oh, sorry. Importantly, kind of king h6. This is mate. King h8. I take with the bishop here. And this is mate and it's unstoppable. Right? Oh, you can sack the everything. Not only this queen, but also the bishop. Maybe you can do this, but like... Oh, and now you have to sack the bishop still. To... not survive, but to... live for as long as possible. So yeah, yeah, that is accurate. So this is not inherently over yet, and I'm really sad about my next move. Actually, I played knight e6, which wins an exchange, but like, I really think that's it. In theory, yeah. Maybe it wins a bit more, but like, there might be something here. And I mean, it's not completely obvious that it wins an exchange. It might not even after queen d6, because take, and I can take here, so it does win a pawn. Maybe I think what I would have done is that actually. I think this is sufficiently game over. Because this is a threat and it's winning a queen, and it's really difficult to stop. And like this does technically stop it, but like, what are you gonna do? Sorry. I think this is sufficiently winning, but I also saw this, which is actually way cooler. Rook g7 check. Only move. Bishop takes g6. This is the move, not what you might assume. Rook takes g6, threatening mate, which is, I don't think, stoppable. Oh, actually, this is also good enough. I see now. Check here, and this is the win. Discovered attack, and like rook takes, it's mate in 1. King takes, and this is also mate because of the knight. Okay, so that is good enough, but this is also just, I mean, check, mate. The only moves you have. This is the longest you can survive. Yeah, I won. And it was, I was the first one done by quite a bit. All that I can say is, even if we didn't win, it wasn't my fault. That was my goal. And well, it wasn't. So let's look at it. d6, yeah. Engine does not like this. Does not like this one bit. Oh, e5 immediately might be playable, yeah. But after e5, just playing a really weird structure, but like, I don't need to take, I don't think, or defend. Can probably play this, right? Maybe you can just. Maybe this is okay. But that's not the position we play. G6, not g5, of course. That's completely terrible. G6. F4 makes sense. Good move. Yeah, c5 immediately also makes sense. To make sure that I don't crash through with e5 immediately, but after c5, d5 I can take. But after d5 we just play like kind of a Benoni style position. I'd be okay with this, but especially since the black player still has an e-pawn, so the rook is active, and yeah. I mean, my c2 pawn is not great, but his e-pawn is also quite useless. And I can crash through with e5 probably pretty easily. Also, I can just take, of course. Game goes on, of course, but like... Ooh, that's interesting. Queen g1 lol. This is funny. Poison pawn. Very poison pawn, but... Oh, it's a piece. Whoops. Let's not sack a piece. The point is that the attack is just so incredibly fast here. And like, this knight actually gets trapped as well. You have to try something. Okay, whatever. Let's go to the game. Fascinating line though. Bishop e2 is a bit slow, yeah. I assumed so. It's okay. c6. Yeah. I really want to put my bishop on e3, but maybe I should just play h3, yeah. Makes sense that this isn't great. a3, e5 immediate. Yeah. h6 is the best move though. I thought e5 was playable, but wasn't exactly what I was looking for. I also looked at b4, but I believe we decided that this is actually bad. Me and my opponent, I mean. We talked about the game a bit afterwards. Yeah, I think this is a very interesting position for a learning chess player. Are you more of a tactical player or a positional player, really? Because this really goes against tactics, but is very in favor of position. And the tactics are so strong that this is just a bad move. Are you an aggressive player? This is a very tactical player. Or are you somewhere in between? And I decided to be somewhere in between. I think playing this tactically is also good. a6 castle makes, yeah, it's good. Knight b7 makes sense apparently. Why is c5 bad here? Oh no, wait, c5, wait, no. Bishop b7 happened. Yeah. Now e5 makes sense as playable, but I wanted to set it up even more. But now c5, yeah, now c5 is playable. I assumed so. And e5, knight e4. e6, yeah. I looked at e6 and I thought that was okay, but this looks good. But yeah, if you're a bit too slow, now suddenly e5 comes and now it's just too late. Taking seems bad, makes sense. F takes, yes. Knight has to go to e8 even, maybe. But yeah, I have to take here, of course. Bishop d3. And just going for the attack immediately is also good, apparently. Bishop d3 is a bit more accurate. f6 immediately. Yeah, okay, now if f6 is the move, then then your position just sucks. Yeah. Knight g5 immediately. I considered that as well, but maybe after h6, just knight g5. Yeah, I believe the points might just... Oh, you can just take. That's also interesting. And queen. Oh, and the point is... Oh, no, I thought the point would be e6, but guess not. Ah, and you win here. Oh, you don't, because the rook is actually properly defended. This just traps the bishop, though. Maybe you can try this, but then e6. Then e6, and then it's over. Okay. Beautiful line. I think that's a bit too difficult. But this is definitely sufficiently winning as well. f6, best move. b3. We looked at b3. I looked at bishop f4 as well. It also looks great. Maybe after bishop f4 you're forced to play f5, but no, you can just go. I thought this was an improvement, maybe, compared to the game. Yeah, I went to h6, which seems fine. Bishop c8 seems okay, apparently. b3 again. Just make sure your opponent doesn't get a single move to play. Very positional. Which is, I mean, it's possible that that this position is meant to be played like b3. That's also very interesting. Despite all the tactics, we just go back to a positional game and play b3 and just let the opponent figure it out. I mean, that I considered that, and because I don't see the plan. But even after knight c5, c4, I can even then play b3 and still. Maybe you have the choice to go to a5 and c6, but I mean, whatever. Bishop c8, rook e1. Yeah, now it's over. Makes sense. Bishop d7 was really a big blunder, but I assumed that this position would be +2. My opponent said it's definitely not as good as it looks, which is true. It's only +1.5. But now it's over. Now, yeah, I looked at bishop takes g6 as well. Oh, it's even better. But no, this is good enough. Take f6, and it's announcing mate. Yeah. And knight g5. h5 is mate. I'm telling you. Come on. Apparently it can't find a win in, or checkmate in depth 22. Maybe now it will announce mate. I mean, maybe you could have played it different. Yeah, king g8 is definitely the optimal move. Yeah, I'm kind of sad about knight e6, but bishop takes g6 was also an option, but I believe you can defend that, right? Ah, okay, it's announcing mate again. Good. Bishop f7, yeah, that would have been... I think I saw this. Let's say that, and like, you can't defend this and you can't... It's hard to defend that as well. Because, and this is also a mate threat in this, and like... Yeah. And like, and after that it's this. Okay, yeah, bishop takes g6. I looked at bishop takes g6, but I thought that this was sufficiently winning, which it is, because you win a queen, or it's checkmate. This is just easy win, or relatively easy. Apparently rook takes g6 is also checkmate, but this is a touch more accurate. Yeah. This actually didn't... my opponent actually resigned here, but like... I saw the forced win already. This. And I really enjoyed this line over the rook takes g6 line because of this. Black is up 6 points of material. A rook and a knight versus 2 pawns. But that doesn't matter because it's checkmate. So I was done very early and I had to wait until the end, and it was interesting, but yeah. It did mean that I didn't technically have to do this, because I would probably be able to sleep because the adrenaline has cooled down, but yeah, wanted to do this regardless. It was a fun game. I think this was the last game of the entire competition. I can check. It's this one, which you cannot see. I'm going to definitely check that you can't see that. So it was the last game of this competition, for sure. And of course double check. Yes. And this competition is also over. Yes, it is. Yeah. So no more team competitions. It's only going to be like local club, internal club, in the club thing. Not sure how much I'm going to be doing this. Probably only if it's a good game. We'll see. I'm gonna think about it. See you, I don't know, whenever. Yeah. Go away.